We've got a copy in here just for your information of the approved preliminary plat for the parcel, which is, again, I think as Russ had mentioned in his report, generally consistent with the preliminary site plan that's in front of you. Those are the buildings. Of course, north is to the left here. So there's 6 buildings, parking, underground parking, and also you can see there's stormwater management basins built into the preliminary site plan to handle stormwater management. We're aware there was concerns about traffic and questions about how that impacts. Again, going back to that, I think it was back in October 2025 zoning amendments that came before the commission. At that time, the city did I guess it would be a preliminary traffic study based on the building types, the number of units, the standard ITE values for that. What we found was, in coordination with the MPO, looking at what Cherry Street and Zeller Street as roadways are essentially designed to handle, and what the traffic counts are there today. You can see as of 2022, and again, these vary, but we're down around the 4,000 to 5,000 range of ADT vehicles per day. And you can see there that both streets are designed to standards that would accommodate up to 13,000. And this was that same evaluation that was done, looking at the actual number of units, the type of family housing, the rates that are found in the ITE code, that's the Institute for Transportation. So what that preliminary evaluation showed was perhaps up to 1,600 ADT at full build-out additional. And that's where we made an estimate that perhaps 50% of that would go to Cherry Street and 50% to Zeller Street, which is a fair estimate to look at it. And when you add those in to what's there, the rates or the percentage of the capacity of each road is still below 50% of what it can handle. We had one letter of objection received and noted, and I think sent to everybody on the commission. So the staff finding was that the preliminary site plan achieves consistency with the approval standards enumerated in section 16505, and we do have a recommendation that the Planning Commission accept the listed finding and forward the request to approve the preliminary site plan to the City Council with a recommendation for approval.
Great, thank you. Do we have an applicant presentation?
Brandon Pratt, Line Development Group. No presentation, but happy to answer any questions if there is any.
Great, thank you. Okay, up next is public comment. And as we open public comment, just a reminder to, out of respect for all of our neighbors, we'll keep it to 3 minutes per person, so.
Okay. Here. Just in case you don't have it on the screen, it's easy to look at. I wanted to make sure you can see it. And the main questions are. I'm sure you guys can.
Yeah, we do, thank you.
All right. I'll not be so close, I'm kind of loud. As you remember, the traffic data that you did give is from 2022, which is when COVID still had us in lockdown. Those numbers are not really realistic. Actually, my biggest question is to Josiah. If this was a public street, would it be allowed to be placed where it currently is being placed? Josiah?
This is not a question and answer. This is for public comment.
Okay.
You can make your
All right,
statement.
I got you. I'm sorry. I always forget I can't actually ask a question of anybody. All right. The one thing I am asking is that the council members who are allowed to ask a question and get an answer, would you please relay the questions that the community has to the people who can actually answer them? Because all I can do is stand here and tell you what I think. I can't actually get an answer, which seems unreasonable. I'm sure you're watching the clock. I'm actually not going to ask my questions. I hope that you guys will do that that you will feel an obligation to the public to investigate this. I note in my thing, it's page 37, that I think that the entrances onto Cherry Street are way where they shouldn't be. They're too close to the railroad tracks. They're dangerous. I outlined some things I thought that would help. Hopefully, someone will look at this. I asked for a safety SUDAS, SUDAS, recommends that anytime you're putting over 100 cars into an area, that you do this safety study. Also, this is not the only business that we're putting on Cherry Street. We're also putting these other locations up above, the new, how many units? 40, 50, whatever it is, and anything else that goes up there. We have to be responsible. We don't want to feel liable to the people whose children get run over because we didn't think that we needed to do this. And as a parent, as a community member, I really think we need to think about it and look at this and be safe and be proactive. But again, all I can do is ask that you ask the questions and investigate. Thank you.
Thanks. Do we have any other public comment?
Hi, excuse me. Hi, my name is Erica Wade. I live at 157 Parkview Court, and my house is down Parkview Court, which is directly straight away from this development. My concern, of course, as with others, is with traffic, because sometimes I have to sit at my intersection a long time, whether I want to go right or left on Parkview Court. I do want to think that the density was lowered on the amount of apartments that are going to be in these buildings, but my concern is the overall aesthetic of the buildings. In the site plan approval standards, there is a section entitled Design Standards, which is North Liberty Code 169.10. Requirements state that the building design shall be visually harmonious and compatible with the neighborhood character. How does a flat-roofed metal, brick, and cement structure, let alone that it's 4 stories tall, fall under this requirement? All of the houses and buildings in the area surrounding this development have gabled or peaked roofs of some type. The UCD lofts are not compatible with the neighborhood character. And then there is the stark color contrast with the rest of the neighborhood. These buildings are going to be brown, white, and black, as they're currently in the renderings. The houses and other buildings around the development are shades of yellow, blue, green, tan, and brown. To me, this is not visually harmonious. Though we cannot stop this development and we understand the need for taking care of this plot of land, we had hoped its design would be more sympathetic to the surrounding neighborhood. Thank you for allowing me this time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any other public comment? Okay. Questions from the commission? Or comments also?
Sure, I'll ask, Josiah. This is not a public street, so I understand this is not an apples to apples situation. But the Ms. Stoner's question about whether or not if this were a public street,
Yeah.
would it be allowed to be
Well,
placed in that?
if it was a public street, it would be different. That's
Yeah,
correct.
100%.
It's not a public street. It's essentially a driveway to serve the residential area. We do have different standards for public streets layouts versus driveways because obviously the traffic and the circulation is different on a public street. So what we looked at here are a couple things. Since it is a driveway, there are separate driveway standards, which we use in this case, which is not the same as the public streets. I know there was concern about the railroad, which we had as well when this started. And so we had reached out a year ago to Crandic to kind of walk through this and got their feedback that these meet their minimum offsets for driveways to the railroad tracks, and it exceeds those minimums. So that's obviously a big deal, and we did confirm that with them, and they're on board. So we approached it as driveway. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah,
If they ask.
1 second.
Yeah.
Because I have a question for you guys. What is it that causes or triggers like getting a signalized crosswalk?
I won't know these numbers off the top of my head, but as mentioned, we use SUDAS as a design manual. They do have sections with design guidance on pedestrian crossings and the different measures you can use, whether it's signing, painting markings, flashing beacons and stuff like that. So it's always a matter of how many people use the trail, what are the counts, and what are the traffic on the roadways and
The speed, right?
speed. Yeah, which is important because Zeller and Cherry are essentially functioning as local streets at 25 miles per hour. So we do have 2 trail crossings nearby here at both the Northridge Trail. Right now they have pavement markings. They have the fluorescent yellow trail crossing signs, and those are much further from these entrances. They're probably over 300 feet away. But
I was trying to
they're-
think I couldn't picture off the top of my head. I'm familiar with the trail crossings, but I was thinking about like the rec center entrance area, and I couldn't picture if there was even a crosswalk there or not. But
there is.
okay,
yeah. So there's a matrix of how you determine what measures are appropriate. Yeah.
and so is it safe to assume that those measures have been looked at with these proposed traffic increase, this proposed number of cars? We've looked at whether any of those things in this area need to be updated or adjusted.
Well, yeah, I think as he noted on his slide there, we're going up like a couple percentage
Right.
points.
So it didn't necessarily
so it's
trigger
not
the
a
need to-
overall. Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
But as you know, the city looks at those things on an annual basis.
That's what I wanted to note is that this isn't a look at it once and we're done.
Right.
We will continue to evaluate not just this area, but
Right.
other areas like we did on Penn Street, like we did, we put these the beacon lights out on the North Liberty Road as
for
we
the
put a
dog
trail out there. That was more of a because of the layout, the hill
Right.
and the
And the
curve.
speed. Yeah.
So we actually have a group of folks that look at these types of things every month, whether it's a request from a community member that wants a stop sign somewhere, or if it's a request from the police department that noticed something. We have what we call a traffic safety group that looks at these things monthly.
So regardless of development being done or not done, these things are being monitored pretty closely.
I mean, the legal standards are the floor,
Yeah.
right? And doing more than the minimum has
Yeah.
been my understanding and my experience with the traffic committee has been
Great.
erring on the side of safety.
And so that traffic committee also looks at the bicycle paths and crossings.
100%.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
there's a way to monitor that.
Yeah, that group looks at any sort of, they look at stop signs that requests, speed limit requests, crossing areas. Anytime we get a complaint or a concern, we look at it. Doesn't mean we do something every time because it may not warrant an immediate reaction,
Yeah, understood.
but it is evaluated.
I would note that the reason Mr. Rusnak's not here is he's at a conference that specializes in biking and pedestrian access, with something that's the city is interested in focusing on, especially in this area with the anticipated enhanced pedestrian access and trail access. So just tossing that out there, that continues to be a priority for staff.
Yeah, and the number of young families, the more young families I see on the trails all the time. I mean, it's fantastic.
Yeah, which we see as a positive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
we
it's
like
very
that.
positive.
Any other questions, comments?
There's on the east side of the site, there's a lot of mature trees. Is that on the Krandick right-of-way?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Well, that's good until the railroad changes there. We don't have an awful lot of control over that. My understanding is that there's no plans to remove that, but that's not enforceable by us at all. And so we can hope that that's the case. But my understanding is that there is landscaping screening that's installed along this, notwithstanding the existing mature trees.
Right,
along.
so that's in addition to the mature
In
trees.
addition to, yes, sir.
As we all know, one weather event can change that.
That's
so.
right.
No joke.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I don't know if anybody had any further thoughts on the design or aesthetic of the building. I think that's
I will say, yeah, I appreciate comments and understand where they're coming from. I will say that to this individual, I don't live right here, but I drive this area every day and have done so since 2007. In my mind, this is a vast improvement over what was there previously, which certainly didn't mesh with any of the residential construction in the area. So I am not, I take no pause or have no concerns over the aesthetics that are being proposed, here.
And I think I spoke about it the last time that we saw this. I appreciate that there is some underground parking, not only for the convenience of the residences, but also just to keep the amount of paved area down.
Agreed. I think a lot of effort's been put into the plan to make it as compatible as possible.
no other comments, then I'd entertain a motion.
I move that the Planning Commission accept the listed finding and forward the preliminary site plan to the City Council with a recommendation for approval.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a roll call vote, please.
Janizer?
Aye.
Miller?
Aye.
Ahern?
Aye.
Jotty?
Aye.
Sorry.
It's okay.
We needed that one.
I was trying to write, I'm sorry.
You're good. Motion carries. Okay, moving on to item number 7, a future land use map amendment. We'll start with a staff presentation.
Thank you. Okay, this is a request of MLDC Incorporated for the following. There's actually 3 requests here. There's a future land use map amendment, a zoning map amendment or a rezoning, and a preliminary subdivision plat for a 46-lot subdivision on approximately 22.44 acres. You can see that the red is the preliminary subdivision plat, the yellow is the RS6 to RD10 rezoning, and the small blue rectangle is ID to RS7. I won't read all the existing zonings there, but you can see each one, RS4, RS6, RS9, RD10.
Did read all of them.
I didn't read all the words.
Did it.
We also have a comprehensive plan, future land use map designation of urban low intensity to the north and urban medium to the south. These are just pointing out the 2 rezoning areas. And again, on the future land use map. Here's the preliminary subdivision plat. Let me see what else. Okay. So in general, the preliminary subdivision, it extends both from the north roads that were built with the Mickelson subdivision, previous versions. It also connects into Chipman Lane and other roads that connect going east onto Jones Boulevard. So several accesses in and out of the subdivision. There were 2 things that Russ wanted to highlight here. One is that because of the way this subdivision lays out and needing to make a connection going west in the future, there's some vacant land, but as you get closer to Kansas, we have Forever Green Estates Part 1. There is a Sutner Drive over there that we need to hook up with, and that's basically the genesis of why this is the way it is. Chipman Lane will stop here, but Sutner needs to continue through, and it's got to make sense to connect in the future. So, I think Russ had pointed out that this is not uncommon that you see this, but that is why this happened here and why we're going with this layout. The other thing you wanted to point out is that there is an existing 60-foot right-of-way that goes to Forever Green Road. This is south of the development. He's got it circled here in red. We had decided as the city a while back, as we were looking at this area, we don't want another road connection into Forever Green Road at this spot. So this would be the good spot to get utilities, both sanitary, sewer, and storm, from the subdivision back into the city's other systems. I don't think this is
That's not right.
public input. A virtual Good Neighbor meeting was held on May 18th. Several people attended and had various questions, but the primary concern was stormwater drainage. It is city staff's opinion that how the development would accommodate stormwater was adequately described by the engineering consultant. And if the preliminary plat were to be approved, construction plans would then be next, which would include review and evaluation of a detailed drainage report, which they would need to show that they're meeting the city's stormwater standards. So there were two findings that the future land use map amendment request is consistent with a comprehensive plan, and the rezoning request for RS6 and the ID section is consistent with the approval standards in the zoning code. Staff recommends the Planning Commission accept these findings and forward them to the City Council with a recommendation for approval. And then after this, there's the preliminary plat, which is a separate one. So do we want to do these together or one at a time? We have a third finding here, which I can go through.
This is a future land use amendment and zoning map amendment and preliminary subdivision plat all in one.
One item.
I would continue talking about the next, all three of them, and then
Okay.
go to, yeah.
Well, all right, let's move on to the preliminary subdivision plat.
Well, yeah, that's how it's on the agenda. Sorry, that's weird.
Yep. The two findings were consistency with the comprehensive plan, that the preliminary subdivision plat is consistent, and consistency with the code of ordinances. Staff recommends the Planning Commission accept these two listed findings as well and forward the request to approve a preliminary subdivision plat to the City Council with a recommendation for approval.
Is there another one?
That is it.
That's it, I think. Okay.
And then this is a preliminary subdivision plat, or this is the first one?
That's the first two right there.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Do we have an applicant presentation?
Come on, Kevin.
I'm Kevin Digman with MLCD. Like Josiah said, this is basically the same plat we submitted for the rezoning process, except with the exception, I think in that plan, the Chipman Drive was the expanded, and this, we somehow moved it to Sutner, and I think that's what led to the rezoning, because that piece wasn't zoned during that process. So, but otherwise, and he mentioned the neighbors, there's been some concern about the runoff of the water, but obviously that's what the city engineers and our engineers figure out. So any other questions I can have?
I don't have it.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
Do we have any public comment? Okay. Questions or comments from the commission? And again, we'll cover all three of these in one. Seems pretty straightforward, makes sense for a street to connect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yep. Okay, great. There's no further questions. I'd entertain a motion.
And folks, I'm going to diverge from rather than have you make two motions, I think you can move, if you want, to accept all the listed findings for item 7 in your packet and recommend all of those to the council with a recommendation for approval, unless you have specific conditions you want to pull off. That would be a nice blanket motion you could make.
Great. Would anybody like to make that motion?
And this suggested motion should work, right? Except the listed findings,
The listed findings? Yeah.
correct?
Yes. And then forward item 7, right?
Rather
Well,
than just future land
yeah.
use map amendment and zoning map amendment?
Because there's
For all three?
because there's a
And
subdivision.
preliminary.
Yeah, if you want to list them all
Or
out,
you
you
could just
can.
read the title of it.
Well, which I defer to your expertise, sir.
Listing them all correctly would be great. But again, as long as we look at this recording and understand what you meant.
It would be these.
Yeah.
That.
And we write it down in our minutes, and people in the future can understand what we meant. That's what we need to do.
Well, I will go ahead and attempt to make a motion here. I'll move that the Planning Commission accept the listed findings and forward the future land use map amendment, zoning map amendment, and preliminary subdivision plat to the City Council with a recommendation for approval.
This guy.
Nailed it. Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Ahern,
Aye.
Yadi,
Aye.
Janizer,
Aye.
Weller.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Never been so proud.
Makes sense.
All right. Item number 8 on the agenda, approval of previous minutes. If there's no questions, I entertain a motion to approve the previous minutes.
I move to approve the previous minutes.
And do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Previous minutes are approved. Moving on to item number 9, any planning updates?
This will not be as in-depth as Russ could provide because apparently we have 3 items on the docket for you guys in July. Phase 3 of Emery Place, which is up on Jones Boulevard. A planned area development amendment. Quail Creek Circle rezoning with the location of the old City Hall with a rezoning to commercial C3. And then Creekside South preliminary site plan. This is a residential development that is where it's along Forever Green Road, kind of where North Central Junior High is, just to the west. There's a big open field there across from and this is one of the sites there. So
Great.
apparently that's what we've got.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
No questions.
If there's nothing else, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll move to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, meeting adjourned.